Hey everybody, it's Justin, your guide to the other side. In the last video, I covered choosing an other deed based off of how it looks, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, that's how I'm gonna choose, my first land, and I know it's gonna be a major point of contention for everybody else that's trying to get started in the other side, right? And outside of aesthetic, there's a couple of really key points that you're going to have to consider when picking your first land and the way that you're going to play the game, right? And it's not just as simple as buying the biggest land for the cheapest price. It's not that simple, and I really want to cover the nuance inside of vessel nesting, what you're going to need to get started, and codas and codamaras and stuff like that. So first of all, the the first couple things are you're going to need a land and you're going to need a mara. Okay, you're going to need a vessel that turns into a mara, and then that turns into a codamara, right? So you need two things essentially, and choosing your land is going to be really critical, because outside of just aesthetic, you're going to ask yourself, how big do I want my land to be? And how big your land is, your environment tier of your land, will determine the bandwidth of actions that you can take inside of the game. So I'll expand on that. What does that necessarily mean? What does that bandwidth action mean? So the more worker capacity you have, the greater ability for you to mine sediment fragments, resources, and hunt on your land, right? So those are the benefits. The downside, the cost, is that you will have to buy those things in order to take advantage of that capacity, right? So if you're just trying to get into the game and you have a set specific budget, environment tier 5 is going to cost you a lot more in terms of a premium, right? So getting a environment tier 5 will be more expensive for you. So that is something that you want to take into account, right? And then on top of that, in order to fill up your capacity, you're going to need to purchase, those codas, whether you want a coda, a codamara, a hunter, or farmamaras, right? You're going to have to buy those vessels, right? And each of those costs around, an average 0.3 or 0.2 or whatever it is right now. And that's like $400 to $500. So, I mean, $400 to $500. That's an extra $2,000. Okay, let me just make sure I'm doing the math right. 400 times 5 is 2,000. 500 times 5 is 2,500. So on top of paying for a T5 environment tier, you're also paying, if you're shelling out like $1,000 for just the environment tier, you're shelling out another 2,000 to 2,500 bucks. So that's 3,000. Let's just say it's $3,000 as an entry to just play the game, right? And if you're just trying to play and test out the game, that may not necessarily be appealing to you. So, but again, if that is the way that if that's what you can afford and that's what you want to do inside of the game, to get to the end game leaderboard position that you want, by all means, that's exactly the way that you want to go. But for most people, I don't think that's probably the best path, just based off of economics and what people can afford right now. And on the other hand, environment tier 1, you can be very targeted with what you want to, mine. You can with only one worker capacity, you can literally only have one worker at any given point in time, whether that's a farmer, just farming that one fragment or one, whatever resource you have, or, swapping out that farmer for a hunter, So again, the benefits of a tier 1 is that you're very targeted with what you want. You know exactly what resource you want to get. You know what fragment you want to get. It's going to be overall more cost. It will be cheaper. It will be more affordable at the cost of like your bandwidth actions, against like people who are like resource barons. Um, you're more nimble and agile, but again, you'll be limited. So again, keep that in mind. And overall, each environment tier really only fights, well, it's in the game. T5s only fight against T5s on their leaderboard. There's a T5, there's a tier 5 leaderboard. There's a tier 4 leaderboard. There's a leaderboard for each tier. So then you don't have a resource baron with 5 codas, all fighting, absolutely flex destroying some dude who has one farmer on a, tier 1 environment, right? So from a game design perspective, it makes a lot of sense. And, from a budget perspective, from, an entry, whatever budget you have, whatever, how you want to play the game, you really have to think about it. So if you want a higher bandwidth, go for tier 5. If you want lower, if you want more affordable, if you want more targeted, if you want to just try out the game, the lower tiers are better. But again, I would say the sweet spot is probably in the middle. Probably, if you're more, if you have a little bit more money, if you want to have a little bit more management, tier 4 probably. If you want, if you want to at least try farming and hunting at the same time, I know that might be a little bit efficient. Tier 2 is probably better. But again, each tier, just keep in mind how competitive you want to be, what you want to do in terms, what you want to do with resources, who you want to fight against and compete with on the leaderboard. So again, I know this was kind of a long topic, but again, it's kind of important to look at. But again, outside of environment tier, you've kind of already answered the questions. 1, what do I want my land to look like? Number 2, what's my budget? So then you can dictate, 2.5, which is what environment tier can I play at a competitive level in order to reap the rewards of that leaderboard placement, based off the tier that you choose. So again, those things are real to choosing the land initially. And once you've determined all these things, then you can kind of really move on to the next thing, which is like, how do I want to evolve my Mara, my vessel, right? Because this kind of excludes like codas and mega codas, because those don't evolve. Those are just super powerful. Like, those are really really OP. But we'll go over those later. So again, the next thing you want to probably choose is sediment, right? I have no idea what each sediment does. Okay, we only know that sediment tier dictates how much is mined in a specific time frame. So again, tier 3 has the best production, tier 1 has the least. So regardless of production, the native sediment will always produce the same type of fragment. So if we keep scrolling down, you can kind of see, hey, we're going to be fighting the Shattered. The point of it is to, get to leaderboard, get that seasonal reward, get those catalysts. And again, we're really going to want to choose things that are conducive to, I guess, cooking up the right type of Kodamara. So a nested vessel will eventually evolve into a Mara here, which can be assigned to an other deed while your next vessel nests. So you'll have an opportunity to combine your Mara with a seasonal catalyst and sediment fragments to evolve it into a Kodamara. Okay, so it makes them more powerful. It makes them more capable to defend Otherside than Maras. So it provides a strategic advantage, to put time into the game and just compound your place inside of the leaderboard to I guess get those rewards, whatever. So again, Kodamas are also a really key part of the collector metagame. So if you are a collector and you kind of want to I guess post on Twitter or do whatever you want, what you do to evolve them will change how they look. It will change the trait rarity. It will adapt the game function, and they're all affected by your choices and how the community evolves as a whole to make them. So your Mara evolution is determined by your other deed, your vessel, the Mara that you choose, and the catalyst that you get from each season. And then optionally, we have a sediment. So if you have farmers farming a sediment, then you can use that to further evolve, um, your Mara, and you will get a Kodomara at the very end. So, I know I covered a lot here, but essentially the questions I really want to answer, for myself, and I know a lot of people have this question, is how do I play the game to the best of my ability? How do I get a land that is aesthetically pleasing for me to look at and to accomplish the things that I want to do effectively, right? And I mean, I personally would like to get on top of the leaderboard to at least reap, some of those rewards that I know are going to be coming. Um, Obviously, speculation, of course. So do take everything I say with a grain of salt, and none of this is financial advice. But again, choose your heart. The environment biome that you like. I personally am super inclined towards the sand biome because it looks like an island. The crystal biome because I mean those are really colorful and it reminds me of Bejeweled. And then the third one I really like is the biolume environment because it reminds me of underwater caves that glow in the dark. So I mean those are really cool. So um, and again, I'm not necessarily going to be personally. I'm not going to be playing. I really don't want to be competing against people who are tier 5 because I don't have $10 gajillion, and I'm just gonna try to play the game so I can show you guys. But you know, how much money do I have? What do I want my game to look like? Based on those factors, how can I play the game effectively? So again, I know this was kind of a long video, so thank you for getting this far. I hope you got some sort of insight and knowledge out of this video. I know I certainly had a great time, going over, more deep into Legends of the Mara and the gaming vlog because I feel like every single time I read this, I gain a little bit more insight into how to play the game. But otherwise, hey, thank you for watching, and you can always find me in the Otherside Wiki Discord. You can find me in the official Discord for Otherside Wiki as well. But feel free to like and subscribe, hit that video. I know I'm going on really long right now, mainly because it's like midnight right now, but it really does help. So, hey, I'm signing off. Thank you for watching, and have a good rest of your night.